Do you want to throw to Chris first?
Sure, Stu. I know you're never going to be happy with a loss, but given all the circumstances coming into this game and everything, personnel you were dealing with, that was a hell of a performance from your team. I know that I'm sure there's probably some frustrations late in the game from some different things as well, but overall you must be really proud about what your team produced.
I think proud is a good word, and it's a word I just used in the locker room. We talk about the character of this group and the willingness to compete. Our preparation this week was like spot on, and the guys come in, they do their work, they hold themselves accountable. It's a very professional environment that we have going on, right now in Brisbane. And, if you're not in our walls every day, I don't expect you to understand, and you probably don't even have a right to have an opinion.
How were you able to be so competitive tonight and put yourselves in a position to win when you're missing, you look at Casey, Javon, Sam and Mitch, they're 4 crucial players. How were you able to put yourselves in a position to win that game?
Well, it starts with the recruitment. We target guys that have heart, are willing to play hard, compete, play for each other, have joy in others' success. So when you have those type of athletes in your playing group, it's like injuries are not an excuse, they're a reality, but all it is for an opportunity for others to step up. And, the crowd tonight was outstanding, and credit to our whole front office and all the work that has been done to put this together here at BEC. And we talked about that before the game, of just kind of feeling the energy of the crowd. And I thought guys like Tane and Tristan and Jack, like Cal, like that bench unit in the third quarter got 6 straight stops to finish the game. To finish that quarter. And we talk about the heart and the character of guys. That's what it's about. Those guys practice hard, all the time. They push the starting group, and it's only gonna make us a better team as we go.
Well, one player I did want to focus on that you just mentioned was Tane, and his offensive game came tonight. And I feel like he must have got a lot of confidence out of the opportunities that he got over the last couple of games. And you've talked about the defensive assignments you've given him, including last week where he spent a lot of time on Bryce, and then he was able to transfer that into having a massive offensive influence tonight as well.
Yeah, really happy for Tane. He puts the work in. So he's first in the gym, last to leave. I said it I think last week, we didn't recruit him to be the Bryce stopper. So just guarding McVeigh once Smack went down, and then Bryce, and kind of just his focus shifted to that end of the floor, and his compete is really, really high. And I was just really happy that he got an opportunity to play a little looser and freer tonight, and not worry about I can't take you out, because really not many others to put in. So let it rip and have some fun out there.
There was 2 pretty crucial calls late in the game where the whistle went on one of them, where obviously Tyrell picked up his 5th foul, and then that was only seconds after the whistle didn't go on what could have been a charge on Josh Bennett. Do you have any thoughts on those 2 plays?
I'm not gonna, never one that's gonna make excuses and comment on specific calls. It's a hard game to referee, when it's played that physical. And I think all you really want throughout the course of the game is communication and consistency. And maybe that wasn't completely there tonight.
I think that's probably well said. What about Jaylen's game? Did you like his aggressiveness tonight and the way that he sort of took on that extra responsibility?
Yeah, no, and he's carrying a heavy load. I think the Nordo being out, as much as Nordo is a heart and soul of our team, the luxury that Jaylen has to have a guy like Nordo behind him, and now for him not to be there, really puts a lot of pressure on Jaylen. And he's only continuing to get better and get more comfortable with our playing group. And I knew going in tonight that Jaylen was going to have a good game. He put extra work in all week at the facility. After practice, was just really locked in and focused on the scouting report and the personnel. So his effort has been there since the start. But tonight, it was time to ratchet it up a bit, and he answered the call.
actually had one of your supporters ask you a follow-up question from last week where you spoke about how you want to give Jaylen the freedom to use his creativity, but also perhaps try to give him a little more, direction as well. How do you feel like you get that balance right?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's just the continuity of, like, the more you play together with a certain group, it just naturally comes. And, I thought we had, better structure, tonight offensively, maybe not exactly where we want to be, but, Tassie is year in and year out, probably one of the best defensive teams. And if you let them load up in the half court, they can be really good. So, we tried to play with a pace and a ball movement to shift that defense and, get Jaylen and Ty in some second actions. And, for the most part, I thought we got great looks. And, we just down that stretch, kind of in the fourth quarter, Starks got away from us a little bit. But, Jaylen's finding his way, and I think that chemistry between him and Ty will only, continue to evolve and find those shooters on the floor. And, we're chipping at it. I think we're, our 3 losses by a combined of 11 points. So percentage points matter. We're certainly down some bodies, and, we're fighting. We're competing.
And like you said last week, all 3 of the losses could have easily gone the other way now, couldn't they? So, and you've talked about how the first thing you want to build is that competitive spirit. You have to be delighted that you're seeing plenty of that right now.
Yeah, and it's, I think it's a credit to the players, and I think it's a credit to our coaching staff. Like the first barometer if a team is like locked into what your staff is doing is how hard they're playing. So, when we talk about that, like, that's what I'm most happy about. And for people on the outside to question that, like, I just have a hard time with that. Like, I've never been one that, is going to listen to criticism from people I would never take advice from. So for those opinions to fly our way, especially this early in the season, like, I don't know, like, our doors are open. You want to come and watch practice, like, call us.
Has it surprised you, some of the comments that might have filtered through?
No, because it's, everybody has a right to their opinion. I just don't agree, like, without, if you're not there every day, how can you shape that? I just have a hard time with that.
Yeah, no, for sure. You've got a full week now before you play again. Would you be hoping that AC and Javon would be available next week?
Yeah, I don't. We'll take a look at that on Monday. We have 4 practices this week before we head out to Illawarra, which will be every game in this league is, rest in peace, Corey, but no cupcake league, and it's a good opportunity for us to, I don't think we've had 4 practices in a row in quite some time, so to be able to kind of really get some work in. Guys are gonna be a little tired, obviously, after tonight. We'll get an off day tomorrow and get back at it on Monday.
Thanks very much, Stu.
Thanks, Chris. Anything from you, Josh?
Obviously, some positive signs tonight, Stu, with a couple of the role players who are typically going to be in those positions later on in the season. What have they sort of shown you over training, and I guess in particular this game, which sort of is giving you some confidence that this team can go quite far later on in the season?
Yeah, no, it's like we talk about this as well, like, just do your job, right? And, like, some of these guys have very specific roles on this team, and I was really happy to see that, like, those guys get that opportunity. Jack coming in, making a couple threes, Cal coming in, like, just having a presence when, Ty was in foul trouble. Tristan's, plays 15 minutes, and he's plus 12 with 4 assists and no turnovers, and he's a development player. So, like, not sure how much more I can ask of those types of guys. Toey comes in and, has 10 rebounds in a starting role, and, just he has such a feel for the game that, there's, like, almost like a little bit of a comfort level with him out there. And he's just, those guys put the work in. I keep going back to that, but, like, when you're putting the work in, you're going about it the right way, the results are going to come.
Obviously, clearly frustrating to lose a game and to start the season in 1-3, and like you mentioned, obviously a lot of these games have been quite close losses as well. But a 2-point loss with the amount of injuries that you've got to key players, with the way your guys stepped up, there's obviously a lot of positives that underline tonight's game.
Yeah, and it's, look, is a results-oriented business, and your record is your record. But I think most coaches will say, like, it takes about a good 5 to 7 games to get a really good feel for, like, where your team is at. And if you're able to, like, strip the record away, I mean, you know, we're a layup away in Cairns. We're maybe a shot or two or a call or two away here from getting a win. You know, and I'm not sure I even feel that much different about the team, win or loss in these early games. You know, I'm more concerned with, like where is our effort, where is our preparation, where is our compete. And, like, right now we're checking those boxes big time, in my opinion.
Perfect, mate. Thanks for that, and good luck next week.
Thank you, guys.